Bucks Suck Podcast, Episode 3. My name is Shaffty Bro, a.k.a. Mike, a.k.a. the pastor of the Church of the Freak, and this is the Church of the Freak. Welcome, my brothers and sisters. Sit down. Sit down. Quiet. Listen to the words I'm saying. Giannis Christ is the greatest of all time. And this year he is going to prove it. Unfortunately, I'm not joined by my co-host Joe Ostendorf at Joe Ostendorf on Twitter. Follow that beautiful man. Tell him his dog is lovely. But he is currently moving, and all of his stuff is packed away. And so we might have to do one or two podcasts here without him. But that's okay. It's the middle of August. There's nothing to do, nothing really to talk about. I don't even know if I'm going to go Bucks this whole podcast. We're going to talk other things. We're going to talk maybe some baseball, maybe some movies. Who knows? But first, let's talk a little Bucks. So the summer league's over. We kind of hit that. We kind of hit that whole lot. We launched the website. Jabari happened. We got rid of the menace, the Mormon menace. That would have been a good nickname if he was good. We got rid of him, and we kind of lost in the while by the wayside was summer league. It was uneventful. No one really cares how DJ Wilson plays, and Dante DiVincenzo played like 2 games and didn't make a basket. So everyone kind of just went, let's forget, let's just not talk about Summer League. Let's talk about Jabari Parker. He's gone. What happened to Jabari? But let's talk a little bit about Summer League. It was a while ago. It was like the beginning of this month, so whatever. But Christian Wood was good. I think the Bucks should not sign him. I think it's easy to... quote unquote easy. It's easy in a relative sense. Like as an NBA big, it's easy to drop 20 and 10 if none of your guards can shoot and they all want to pass to you. And if you play hard and rim run and you're tall, which is what Christian Wood is. There's not a lot of good bigs who are playing in Summer League who aren't there just working on specific things. Some good players and good teams go there and they go, hey, Sterling Brown, all you're going to do is ball handle, and I want you to work on corner threes, pull-up threes. I want you to work on passing, That's not what your role is going to be in the team, but if you add those things to your role, you're going to excel. That's kind of what you want your players to focus on in the Summer League. So it's kind of tough to judge bigs. We have enough bigs. Like, obviously, if you can find a Henson trade out there and you can bring Christian Wood on, as the 15th man as your third big, you would do that. But you don't, go out seeking a Henson trade just to sign some 15-man to the end of your roster, because that's what the Bucks do all the time. They worry about the 15-man all too much, I think. Instead of looking at 7 through 12 and being like, what the fuck? Or thinking, instead of figuring out why Eric Bledsoe is our third best player. Because he's not anywhere close to that. Anyways, Summer League was interesting. Dante DiVincenzo was bad. I don't know. He played I would expect... I don't know, man. Why? Why do we have to keep having bad drafts? Why do we have to keep passing up on the obvious things that would improve our team in the long term and keep Giannis here? Hypothetically, if the Bucks took 2 draft day trades last year and this year, trading their pick and a semi-important asset, they could have Shai Alexander, Donovan Mitchell, Chris Middleton, Giannis Antetokounmpo. as their foursome, who would be locked in for like the next 6 years, 5 years for Chris probably, because you could just sign Chris next year to a pretty good deal, and you'd still have probably some salary cap space to go do some other things, and then you'd have a backcourt that would be monsters on defense and offense for the next 4 years on rookie deal. Ugh, man. Instead, we have Eric Bledsoe and Tony Snell. But, we've added Coach Bud, who is, I think I saw an ESPN piece yesterday, their preseason power rankings that hit the Bucks 16th. I don't know if they know this, but Jason Kidd was fired. And they hired, the third? They now have the third best coach in the East, right? Stevens. The dude in Miami, whose name is slipped out of my mind. And then probably Coach Bud, right? Thinking. Yeah. So they have a top 3 coach in their conference, the best player in their conference, and that player has a number 2 who is like a top 10 player in the conference. So they have 2 top 10 players in the conference and a top 3 coach in the conference, and you think they're not going to, be monsters? The upgrade from Kidd to Coach Bud is bigger than Lonzo to LeBron. The Lakers are going from Lonzo as their primary ball handler to LeBron James. And that's amazing, and that's going to be a huge boon for the team. But the Bucks are going from Coach Kidd, who's retarded, and was actively hurting the team in every sense of the word. In the locker room, on the court, off the court, in the players' heads, in the players' ways they play, everything. In the media, in the ownership, in the front office, he was fucking everything up. He was just a bull in a china shop. Lonzo was just a rookie at adding low value but good value. It's gonna be ridiculous how much better the Bucks are, and it's gonna be ridiculous how much better Giannis looks. He's again, he sometimes has empty stats. He sometimes has empty assists and rebounds, but Coach Bud is going to help him paint those numbers into effective areas. I think it's ridiculous to think he averages 30 points a game, but last year he averaged 27 points a game, and he had no offense or nothing moving around him. That was just give Giannis the ball, and he averages 27, 9, and 5 in the NBA. Or 27, 10, and 5 on 60% true shooting. So, the idea that adding Coach Bud isn't going to make Giannis a 30, 10, and 10 guy who's an MVP, who's putting up ridiculous defensive numbers, and whose team wins 55, 60 games isn't that ridiculous. I think Giannis with Coach Kidd this year probably would have won 50 games. And Coach Kidd sucks. So with Coach Bud, who took a team who had Kent Bazemore and Kyle Korver as its top 2 and 3 best player, or I guess 3 and 4 with Paul Millsap and Al Horford. But with those, with those 4 dudes, he took a team and won an entire month and made them all All-Stars. And now he's gonna have literally one of the best players in the world, and offense rife with 3-point shooting. All right, the most important addition to the Bucks, however, is not Coach Bud. Coach Bud is an amazing addition, But the audition, he's an amazing addition. But the true thing that got added that will be amazing, astounding, wonderful, that will bring it all together and allow the Bucks to legitimately, if it all comes together, they could win like in the 60s, like not just 60, like into the 60s if it all comes together. But that addition was Brook Lopez. Like, Brook Lopez is a knockdown 3-point shooter, and he's a center. He's like what everyone when you think in your wildest dreams what Thon Maker could maybe be on offense, he doesn't even scratch the surface of what Brook Lopez is. Like, all you want out of Thon is to stand at the 3-point line and make them at like 33% at like three or 4 attempts a game, but just enough to like have the big standing like maybe 1 foot out of the paint, and that is enough to get Giannis going and give him enough space to finish every time. And now you're gonna have Brook Lopez out there, who has hands, who doesn't rebound but boxes out really well because he has a giant brother that he played basketball with in the driveway with. So all they did was box each other out and rub butts on each other. And so you've got a bigger, fatter Thon who shoots from 3 about as well as Chris Middleton. In the last 3 years, they would be similar shot comparison profiles from 3. So now you've got another Chris Middleton from 3, standing in the corner on Giannis drives, but instead of the center being 1 foot in the paint, he's got to be out there on Brook, because otherwise he's like a 39% 3-point shooter, and he's probably like way more cash from the money unguarded, way more cash from the corner unguarded, excuse me. So to think that, just think about that. Like, he's gonna have every center not in the paint while Giannis is standing at the top of the key. You're not gonna be able to double team him because he's gonna know where all the outlets are because Coach Bud is gonna tell him where all the outlets are and how to pass out of situations. Because Coach Bud is a great coach. Good/great coach. So now you've got a 38% 3-point shooter in Brook Lopez standing in the corner. You got Chris Middleton standing at the upper wing or the other corner, another 37% 3-point shooter. You got Malcolm Brogdon, Tony Snell, Ersan Ilyasova, all 35+% 3-point shooters. Eric Bledsoe's like 32, 33, but he's still not awful. And when with Coach Bud and this shooting coach, if you can add like 1 or 2% to Eric Bledsoe, he's like really, really good. If you just get that little bit out of him this year, but with good spacing and a good shot profile, and extra practice and good maybe a few tweaks, everything could fall into place for the Bucks. And I'm usually an optimist. I believe in the God that is Giannis Antetokounmpo, and I believe that he will bring us to the promised land and win a finals. So I'm an eternal optimist. Unfortunately, it's not cool to be on the internet, and I like to argue the opposite of things, so sometimes I don't seem like it, but I'm always positive. I always have positive outcomes and outlooks on people. When I look into the future on players, I always see their best side. So the way the Bucks offense is coming together, Giannis could be 30, 10, and 10 every night. Middleton could be dropping 22 points, 7 assists every night. Like, legitimately, the Bucks could be monsters if Coach Bud is, as good of a coach as he was in Atlanta, and if he learned a few things, some people are comparing him to, like, him in Atlanta was like Belichick on the Browns, and like he learned, and he's gonna come into the Bucks and make them goats. But I'm not even that much of an eternal optimist. We take it a day at a time here at Bucks Suck, which is hilarious that we named the website Bucks Suck, and I am internally optimistic about the Bucks. But when they're bad, and I like to say that they're being bad. So that's how I kind of feel about the Bucks offense. I think they're being super underrated. I would say it's like Celtics, Toronto's, Bucks, Sixers, all in one tier. I don't like these other tiers. I think the Celtics are going to have issues with too many people, with having too many players. I think they're going to have to make a trade because they have like 8 guys who want to start. So like it's not that it's not that they're not going to be good. It's that they have 8 guys that want to start. And Brad Stevens is a great coach. He's the best coach in the East and probably maybe the league right now with how Coach Pop lost Kawhi. But I don't know. The season's going to be interesting. I think either one of those teams could finish in first this year, and either one of those teams could finish in fourth. I think all 4 of those teams are going to be really, really good. And the East is going to be super competitive. But, we never... That's why you play the games. There's the beauty of talking shit in August is that no one can hear it, No one can say I'm wrong until June. And then in June, I'm going to be like, that was 8 months ago. I don't know. What do I know? That was 8 months ago. There was no way I was going to know blah, 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 and then blah, 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 blah. Who knew blah, 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 blah? So that's the beauty of making predictions is, no one really cares. Sure, look at the Mayans. They said the world was going to end like 16 times. And I'm sure that whoever made that prediction in Mayan times, maybe he was like a super important person. And he was like, they pay me a lot of money and I walk around here and I don't do anything. Like, I see these people out there, like, slicing heads off. They're playing head basketball. They're carving heads out for Halloween. They're farming or whatever the Mayans did. And what was their obsessions with cutting heads off and then using the heads for a thing to do stuff? I don't know. But look at that guy. He probably came out and he was like, "The world will end in 2,000 years. It's been foretold by the blood of this head I chopped off." And now look at him, no one can tell the Mayans, hey, we're idiots. No one can say this guy was lying. Because that guy's dead. So he can make all the predictions he wants. And I'm going to make all the predictions I want because 6 months from now, who knows? Maybe we've had a nuclear war and, San Francisco and the Lakers were both taken out, so the Bucks are the best team in the league. And then, maybe the podcasts are way more happier. Maybe we'll have to change our names to Bucks Don't Suck. But I digress. The Bucks are going to be surprisingly good this year. They're going to have a normal defense. Their defense is going to be interesting. Depending on how many minutes you play Brook and Ersan together, like that's a rough. Excuse me. That's a rough 5-4 pairing. Unless you've got Giannis at the 4, then Urs at the 3, and then that's even worse. So it'll be interesting. Maybe you got to pair like Giannis at the 5 with Ersan at the 4, and Brook at the 5 with Giannis at the 4. And maybe Ersan and Brook are never on the court together. I don't know. We'll probably talk more about that as the season gets closer. But really, I think this year will be explosion on offensive efficiency for the Bucks, and it'll be a real test of just how good Giannis can be on defense, how many plates he can keep spinning. Because I think Coach Bud's gonna work him, and I think they're gonna have a good defensive system. But Giannis is, as always, he will be the decider of the season, and that I don't know about you guys, but I could go the next 15 years just living and dying by how Giannis plays every night. You know? Even if you don't win it, we don't ever win a finals. If it's like, or if we only ever win one. If it's like, you know, Giannis is, you know, Giannis is, we live and die by the Giannis sword, you know? I'd be alright with that. I love that kid, and I want to see him stay a Buck for life, and he wants to be a Buck for life. He's he did all of that, and he has said this a bunch of times, and he said it a few years ago a bunch of times, and his agent actually told him to stop saying it because it was going to fuck up negotiations, and he just kept saying it because that's how he feels, and he doesn't want to go through all that extra hassle of moving somewhere. And I mean, I guess he has all that money to remove all that hassle, and he can just pay someone to move him. But still, it's a pain in the ass. And, you know, you've pretty much laid down seeds. And Milwaukee's wrapped its big racist, both white and black arm, have wrapped itself around Giannis and given him a big hug. And I don't know that he would ever want to leave. I think he likes it here because I think he has a Wisconsin sensibility of just like being quiet, and like maybe Friday night is like on a deck with a band and a beer and your girlfriend, and not necessarily at a club throwing 10 grand at a stripper's booty, you know? That's the kind of life Giannis lives, you know? What's he doing this off season for his vacation? Is he in Turks and Caicos, like Kyrie, or on a boat with a bunch of white girls? No, he's traveling the European major cities with his girlfriend. So if Giannis leaves, we'll change our podcast name to Giannis Sucks, and we'll just become a Giannis-centric blog and ignore the Bucks forever. I'm just kidding. I don't know what'll happen. I'll cry for like 4 days, probably. I'll be a broken man. A sad and broken man. But that is the worst possible outcome, and that would have only happened had we signed Jabari. So Giannis will be a Buck for life, and Jabari will be dunked on by Giannis 4 games out of the year for the rest of his life. But he'll do a lot for Chicago. Maybe Jabari's real purpose on this earth was not to play basketball, but was to solve whatever problems Chicago has with Chance the Rapper, and bring Mormonism and Christianity together to save the black man. Like the Wonder Twins. Religious famous twin powers activate. Form of a community charity. Form of police community relations. I don't know. Those are some bad jokes. I'm sorry. What else? Yeah, I don't know. Comic-Con was recent, but I don't know. Aquaman looks like it's gonna be good, but you can tell if a movie is gonna be good based literally solely on the casting of the superhero. Like, if they got the casting right, then they're gonna get the tone of the whole movie right. You know? Like Ryan Reynolds as Green Lantern, I don't know about that. He's too quippy, you know? He makes too many quips, and Green Lantern is more of like, I don't know, he kind of is quippy, but he's more like, I don't know, I think of him more as like a stern, regal, warrior. And the Jason Momoa casting, as weird as it sounds, was perfect. Like, it doesn't match Aquaman in the Justice Friends or whatever, Super Friends, sorry, at all. It was like this blonde white man. And is Jason Momoa just tan? Or is he like Tongan or what? I don't know. But he was a good casting. I think he's a great Aquaman. I think I like the energy he brings to Aquaman. I realize it's like the exact thing that I just said Ryan Reynolds' Green Lantern was bad for, but that's how it works. If you get the casting right, it works no matter what. The Barry Allen on the Flash TV show, that was the right casting. The Arrow on the Arrow TV show, Stephen Amell, that was the right casting. Supergirl, that was the right casting. The Flash in the DC universe, not at all the right casting. That was fucking terrible. And so what? The movie he's in fucking sucks. Superman, I mean, you could get any stern-looking, black-haired white dude to play him, and it would be alright. I don't really know that guy knows what makes Superman like Superman. Superman. I don't know that he knows what makes Superman. Oh my gosh. So, and then Ben Affleck as Batman, come on. The moment we all heard that, we all laughed and knew those movies were gonna suck. But Wonder Woman, that was a good casting, and that movie was good. Iron Man, that casting was so good, it carried 22 movies. Robert Downey Jr.'s Iron Man was so perfect, it carried 22 movies. All of the Marvel movies are great castings. All of their characters are perfect fits. You can't even think of Iron Man without Robert Downey. Like, even thinking of him how he looks in the comics, you just think of him as Robert Downey Jr. now. I realize it's Gucci Gang and not Superman, but whatever. So, that's kind of how I feel about Aquaman and Shazam, to be honest. Both of those castings looked super good. The trailers just looked even better. Everything that's come out of those movies so far has been super exciting. And I really think DC's gonna they're gonna have Aquaman, Wonder Woman 84, which looks sick. I saw like a little stealth bootleg footage of that trailer, and it looks amazing. They gotta just start embracing more powers. That's what people want to see. They want to see like what kind of creative tricks can you come up with these powers that you've been given. Like, we've all seen the classic superhero stories now. We've all like Aquaman everyone's like, oh, Aquaman, that's just Black Panther. Black Panther, right? The prodigal son returns to take over the kingdom or whatever. It's Black Panther from Killmonger's view. It's Thor. We've all seen these origin stories. So I think what we really want to get in, what really people need to get into now with these superheroes is they need to get into, creatively using powers and creatively using the cast, and not creatively coming up with stories. That's why comic books get so crazy in the 2000s and the 1990s. It's because they've done all the other stories, and they're like, I don't know, what if like they split reality open and there's like 1,000 other worlds and they're all exactly the same and each one's just a little different, and we can meet like 600 Flashes. That'll take up like 2 years, right? Yeah. You have to just keep getting more and more creative as you get further and further into the comic book story, because you can't just keep doing origin stories. We all We all already know origin stories, and you still are going to have to do a bunch of origin stories. So the little trailers I saw from Wonder Woman 84 made it look like they were, they knew that, and they were preparing to do cool things with Wonder Woman and her whip, and, you know, the things that make her fucking awesome. So I'm excited about those. The new trailers for the new season of the CW shows look super cool. You know, Supergirl just keeps turning into the super liberal progressive show that they want to be, with lesbian Danvers, and now they're gonna have a transgender superhero. I wonder if it's a man and then, like, Shazam only becomes a woman? Because that would be a true transgender superhero, right? Like, they transform their gender when becoming a superhero. Now I would watch that. I would watch a superhero like that and watch the dichotomy of, like, the dude being in a woman's body and being treated, like, sexually and sexistly, and, like, understanding more. See, now that's a take on... that would be a good way to do it. If they do that, I'll watch that show. But they're not going to do that. They're going to do, like, I'm transgender. People are mean to me. My life's hard. People are mean to everyone. Everyone's life is hard. You know? You're not special. Gucci gang, Gucci gang, Gucci gang, Gucci gang, Gucci gang. So Supergirl is probably the least of the CW shows I'm excited for. I don't think there's any Legends of Tomorrow stuff. The Flash is going to be super good this year. They're going to go super hard into the Flash's, Barry's future. You know, his daughter's going to be there. Spoilers. It's going to be super insane. Kid Flash, it looked like they went through the plane thing. So that'll be fucking sick. But overall, the CW shows I'm excited for. Supergirl, not as much as the other ones, but I'm pretty excited for the CW shows. And if you guys haven't watched those, I would recommend watch Flash Season 1 first. And then watch Arrow Season 1 and 2. And then watch the rest of the Flash. And then watch, like, some YouTube video about what happened in seasons 3 and 4 and 5 for the Arrow, because you don't want to watch those. And then watch watch season 6, because it wasn't bad. And then, you know, if you like those, you can watch the other ones as you want, but they're not that good. You have to take the CW with the superhero, if you understand what I mean. Like, it's gonna be super, like, sometimes it gets super emotionally cringy. Season 3 of The Flash was super bad. But, you know, that's how I feel about those shows. Also, the Teen Titans trailer came out. That looks awful. Like I said about before, the castings are terrible. Robin is an okay Robin, but they had him, like, murdering people, which is fucked up. They had Starfire was, like, some black chick who was just black. She wasn't, like, pink, and she didn't look like an alien from another planet with orange hair. She just looked like some black chick who... I didn't even know it was Starfire until I was DMing with someone, and I was like, where was Starfire in the trailer? And they were like, oh, it was the black girl. So that casting's awful. Beast Boy doesn't look like Beast Boy at all. He just looks like some green kid. And Raven didn't look like Raven. That show's gonna suck. And that's unfortunate, because they're putting it on, like, their pay-to-win CW app. So no one's gonna pay for it. People would be hard-pressed to even pay for, like, The Flash and Supergirl and Arrow. And those are good shows that have established fan bases and established track record of being good. And now why does everyone have to be Netflix? You know? Just put your stuff on Netflix find your niche there and come up with something else, branch out into making VR movies and TV shows, or more importantly, branch out into figuring out how to make TV shows VR. Like, can you use a computer to generate, like, The Office based on all of the TV shows, and then build it around the back of every camera shot of all the TV shows, and then you can watch The Office from, like, you can watch every episode from inside, like, from The Office. Like, you can sit at a desk, you can walk around, you can, do something like that. Come up with a new idea instead of just being like, we'll make Disney flicks, and you can only watch superhero movies on the Disney Channel. And soon I'm going to be paying $9.99 for like 9 different streaming services, because each streaming service has one TV show I want to watch. But I digress. I was going to talk about, baseball and stuff, but I've arrived at work, so whatever. I hope you enjoyed this little podcast of me ranting about the Bucks and superhero movies.
Give me one reason to steer, and I'll turn right back around. You can see me turning. Give me one reason to steer, and I'll turn right back around. You can see me turning. Said I don't wanna leave you lonely. You gotta make me change my mind. Want someone to hold me, and rock me through the night. Chasing you around, wasting my precious energy. Give me one reason to stay here, yes, now turn right back around. Give me one reason to stay here, now turn right back around. Said I don't wanna leave you lonely. Gotta make me change my mind. Baby, just give me one reason. Give me just one reason why. Baby, just give me one reason. Give me just one reason why I should stay. Said I told you that I loved you, and there ain't no more to say.